we have a brand new update from Gemini 2.5 Pro with Firebase Studio. So now you can build better apps. Now, this previously was not that impressive. I'll be 100% honest with you. So Firebase Studio is very similar to, for example, things like Bolt.new, Lovable. You can build your own apps here. The biggest difference here is that it's completely free to use, right? So if you want to use this, you can build apps like you can see right here, this tip splitter app that I've actually built previously. We've got a fridge chef app built as well. This was a financial overview app, which is pretty cool. And then additionally, we have like a SEO ROI calculator as an example, right? All looking pretty clean and tidy, all built for free using the app generator inside Firebase, right? Now, this is actually much better since I've tested it with Gemini 2.5 Pro. The problem before was it was actually using Gemini Flash. And if you know anything about Google Flash, you know Gemini Flash, it's not that impressive for coding, whereas now it's a lot more powerful, right? So it's just got announced literally like yesterday, and they've basically said Gemini 2.5 Pro is now available inside Firebase Studio, which is absolutely awesome for building stuff out. It's one of the best coding tools you can get out there, and also it's completely free. Alright, so when you get straight into this, you can get access to Firebase Studio at firebase.studio. Then once you're on the home page here, you can see some examples of what you can build, how you can build it, etc. It's really, really simple. You know, you don't need to be able to code to be able to build your own apps. And if you've ever had an app idea, it's incredibly easy to get started. All right, so you can see some examples of sample prompts. You can also import a repo, so you can import a Git repo. You can set up a new workspace, and you can also choose between the different types of apps you build. So for example, it could be like Go, Python Flask, Java.net, Android Studio Cloud, Flutter, etc. So let's get straight into this. To build this one, this was actually just a one-shot example. So basically, I just said, right, a tipping calculator built to help calculate tips on a bill amongst friends. Use a pink and purple color scheme. They said, okay, here's the plan. Here you go. And it literally built it in one shot, right? So that is the app built in one single shot. It was incredibly easy to do, didn't take long at all, and you can see how it can be done. All right, so if you want to get started with this stuff, let me show you exactly how. So first thing you want to do is actually come up with some ideas. Now, if you're not sure, okay, what sort of ideas can you build, what could you create, etc., I would recommend just going onto ChatGPT and asking it, right? So, for example, you can go into ChatGPT and say, okay, I have a SEO agency business. Give me 3 simple app ideas that are quick to build and fun. So for example, like the backlink bouncer game, right? Now what we can do is if we go over to Firebase Studio, we can take a very similar prompt to the one for the tipping calculator. So let's copy that. And then we'll go inside Firebase Studio here. And we're going to say, okay, a backlink quiz app to, and then just explain what you want it to do. And then we can say, okay, a backlink quiz app to game where people guess which SEO backlink has the most value. So you explain what you want it to do, and then also the color scheme here. So for example, use a pink and purple color scheme. So we can plug that in and start building it out. So now it's come back to us with the app blueprint. So for example, link value guesser. It displays two different backlinks side by side: backlink selection, SEO value analysis, result feedback, and score tracking. And then you've got the color scheme right here. So you can actually click on these. And then also it's got the layout, typography, and iconography, right? So you've got the style guidelines, and then you've also got the features, and you have the name. So it's really, really simple. Like, you don't need to be able to code to build this stuff. Now, one caveat that I'm going to say to this is, like, if you're building something new and untested, something, you know, like this, for example, where it's a little bit more complicated, it's not just like a calculator, then it can go wrong. So just something to bear in mind there is, like, you know, it's not always guaranteed to work in the one shot, but let's test it out and click on prototype this app and see what we get back. So if you're wondering, okay, like, how long does this take to generate, let's put the timer on, we'll see how long this takes. So it's building it out right now. I think what it's also going to do is ask me for a Gemini API key. Now, you can click on auto generate when it asks you, but quite often that doesn't work. So if you want to generate a API key that's completely free, just go to aistudio.google.com, then go to get API key, then create an API key, and you can just generate one for free. And also, once you've generated one, you can click on the API key you want to select and then copy it later. So let's see what it's doing. It's creating the .env, the docs, the blueprint, etc. So in the meantime, whilst we're waiting for that to load, let's have a look at what we've built here and whether it actually works. So for example, let's say the bill amount is 100 and the tip amount is 20%. We don't want to go on 5. Who's tipping 5%? Like, what sort of savage, what sort of cheapskate is tipping 5%? All right, so we'll go with 20%, and then number of people here, we'll put 3. You can see here that you do need to change like the UI. So white on a purple background doesn't look great there. I would change that. But you can see here how easy it is to actually make sure it works, right? And this was built in one shot. We hit reset. We can just go back to the default. Let's check out the fridge chef. So I'm going to put here chicken, rice. What can we make? We'll hit find recipes, see what we get back. So you can see here it says it appears your app needs a Gemini API key. I plugged that in, it updated it, and then we've got the details right here. And that's generated a recipe literally in one click. So we clicked on find recipes and it worked perfectly. We've got a simple chicken and rice recipe. We're good to go on that, my friends. All right, how easy was that? The Biz Insight one is super interesting as well. So you can like add appointments here. You can add transactions. And then it will calculate the financial overview, right? So it's going to give you total revenue, total expenses, net profit, etc. Really easy for just managing your finances. And again, we built that in one shot. One take, Drake. The SEO ROI calculator, we're good to go on that as well. And that was really easy and simple to do. So if we go back to the link value calculator here, you see how it says enter your Gemini API key. I'm just going to plug that in the background, and then we can just paste that in like so. I'm going to have to delete that after the live stream, but you get the point. Now you can see there's an issue here, so if you have any issues, just click fix error and then you can get that fixed. And the API key is free, so I've not been charged for that. You don't get charged. It's free on AI Studio up to a certain point, right? So you can't rinse it. You can't use the limits too much, but yeah, you can get it for free. And then if you upgrade, or if you're on the paid tier, then obviously you get higher token limits. So, you know, if it was a big SaaS tool that you were rolling out to millions of people, of course you're going to pay. But if it's just something you're building for yourself or sharing with a few friends, then you don't need to pay for that. It is free. So we've got that good to go right here. We can also copy the link for this so we can actually share it with people, and you can make a preview public, right? So if we, for example, give people this preview. They can scan it, open it up on their phone, and then test out the app right there, which is pretty cool. What's also cool here is you can kind of vibe code it, right? So for example, if you click on the select section here, you can select the element that you want to change. So for example, if we go to the tip splitter, we can click on this, then we're going to click on the section we want to change, and we can choose, okay, which element do we want to fix here, you know, and just vibe code it out. So let's click on, for example, this, and then we can say get recipes, not find recipes. Just as a simple example to show you what you can do. Usually as well, when I'm coding these out, I don't really choose a coding language. I just go with the basic one, right? So for example here, I sort of let it auto select based on the app that I want to build. But you can see here how we've fixed this to say get recipes now instead. So that's all fixed now. We choose which one we want. So for example, neilpatel.com or SEMrush, which one do you want? I'm going to go with Neil Patel. And then it gives us the results right there, right? So we've got the results on the quality of the link. It gives us the AI reasoning. So it's like both backlinks are really good, but backlink to from SEMrush has a slightly higher domain rating and estimated traffic, along with marginally better relevancy score, giving it a slight edge, right? Pretty cool. So you can, like, for example, train your team. If I had a team member who came on board to our agency, they've never done link building before, well, we could create an app like this to train them internally so that we get better results. And using a combination of ChatGPT and then also plugging that into Firebase Studio, we can create free training tools that are actually way more fun and easy for your team to use in the background, right? So you can see here, for example, the differences. Why is this better? Well, domain rating is higher, estimated traffic is higher, relevancy score is higher. All right, next question. Ahrefs or mods? I'm going to go with Ahrefs. It's got to be. No way. But you get the point, right? I mean, obviously you would tweak this and improve it. And, you know, there's no point comparing Ahrefs and mods.com. But you get the point. Like, it's really easy to build this out. It looks super clean. We built it in one shot from idea to creation. And it's completely free. Plus, it's super useful. Like, you could actually use that in reality. Let's have a look. So we've got the SEO roast generator. And again, because we're plugging in the API key, we can get results from the AI, right? So it doesn't need to be like a static code website. You can get the AI to generate the responses based on the API key you build. So if we go back here now, I'm going to take that template response. We'll plug that in. Then from here, we're going to say, okay, build a SEO roast generator. I'll put the idea up here and then I'll explain that, right? So build a SEO roast generator where people enter their website. Then the app delivers a cheeky AI generated roast, funny but educational, on the SEO mistakes. Then we can change the color scheme as well. Plug that in, and it's much better. Like, honestly, I don't know if you ever saw the live stream or the videos I did on Firebase previously, but previously it was like, it was super messy. Google Flash was just not working at all. This seems to work a lot better. It seems to get much better results from it. So we'll hit prototype with AI now. And also what we can do is compare these side by side, right? So if you want to see, okay, what can, for example, bolt.new create? And bolt.new is obviously a paid tool. So we can compare them side by side. So if we copy this prompt, exactly the same prompt that we used to generate this, and we see what outputs we get directly from bolt.new. By the way, for coding languages, Val recommends using TypeScript for the ability to do back end and front end easily. So that's something to test as well when you're setting this up, right? Obviously, when you go to Firebase Studio, click on try here. This is the section where you can select between all the different apps you use, as you can see. So we're testing out Bolt side by side versus Firebase, and we'll see what we get back in a second. In the meantime, we've got the AI roast tool being built here. So if you love to see this stuff, let me pull them up side by side. It's going to be interesting to see whether this can actually beat Bolt.new or not. Like, if it beats it, that's pretty crazy. What we can also do as well is compare this versus Lovable. So Lovable is another code generation website, which I can't access for some reason. There we go, lovable.dev is. There we go. All right. So let's plug this in. I'm just going to sign in here. The one thing that I'll be careful of is, like, when you're building out these apps as well, is like the AI may generate responses, for example, like the backlink generator, but that data might be fake, right? Because the AI is hallucinating or making it up or assuming stuff. So if you're going to build something that requires data, I would always recommend like inserting your own database in there, right? Don't rely on the AI to come up with the data for you. But these are just test runs we're showing you live on the video. So let's plug these in. And Lovable has just been updated to Lovable version 2, so this is going to be interesting here. We'll plug this in. Exactly the same prompt. Bolt.new is still coding away. And yeah, the really cool thing I like about this is, like, if you compare this side by side versus Bolt, right? So when you build out with Bolt, you don't get that nice sort of briefing document here. So this is Firebase, this is Bolt.new. And you see here how it like creates a nice little briefing document. It's like, right, here's a prototype, here's a name, here's the features, here's the style guidelines, right? And it's telling you exactly what it wants, and then you can click prototype this app. So you kind of get more approval and more control over the process versus, you know, if you're using Bolt.new, it just goes off and builds it. It doesn't really give you any sort of input, and you have to manually intervene yourself if it doesn't work or if it's not quite right. Now what you can also do, if you click on edit the code, once you've got the app back, you can basically open it up like this, right? So you can actually edit the code directly if you're more into like editing the individual files or viewing the files, etc. You can also publish that on Firebase too. But yeah, you can see an example here. So this is the app that we got back from Firebase based on creating SEO My Roast, and it's looking pretty cool. Let's check if it actually works. So if we go back here, and by the way, if you want to go back you can go back to studio.firebase.google.com, and then inside your workspaces here, you can see all your workspaces. Now, one quick warning, if you're using the free plan, then it's going to give you, I think, 10 free workspaces. So just be careful with that, because you can't build like 100 different projects. And if you need to go back and get more free workspaces, then just delete any of the ones that you don't want to use, right? So if we go back to SEO My Roast now, let's pull this up. Here we go. I mean, the outputs are already better. It's already much better than, for example, you know, using the Flash. Google Flash was just really poor. So let's see what we get back. I'm surprised if it actually works, but it actually does. Wow, that's crazy. All right, so here you go. Your SEO roast is served for the website. All right, juliangoldy.com. Let's fire up the roast. Your website is like a dad joke at a funeral. Technically present, but needs some serious help. First off, your site screams 90s website design, blah, blah, blah. SEO website, here's what to improve. Your content is decent, but it needs to be engaging. Mobile responsiveness, blah, 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 right? So it's not bad at all. Now, obviously, that could be fake data, or it could be a fake response, or completely hallucinated like I was talking about before, right? So when you're doing this, you just want to be careful that it's actually giving you real data if you're building out something that requires like data or information or live pages on the web and that sort of thing. But again, this is just a test run. We're doing live on a video. We're not going to release this for commercial release. So Bolt.new is taking ages actually to build this out, which is quite interesting. Let's have a look at Lovable. So Lovable was actually way faster, as you can see. All right, so this is lovable.dev. Bolt.new is still building out. Oh, we've got the preview coming up now. Let's see what we get back. All right, so it's built a dashboard. Let's pull this up. It's built quite a nice dashboard, to be fair. The only thing I don't like is it's got loads of dummy data in there. So for example, how do we add a transaction inside here? Well, if we go to invoices, new invoice, we'll put in an example. And we'll put the notes in here. Here, create invoice. And nothing happens, right? So you can see here it's not working. If we click on cancel, we can click out of it, but we can't add new invoices. Let's try the Firebase Studio result. So we'll plug this in, we'll put an expense, put $100 there, we'll put backlinks as an example, we'll put the date, add transaction, and it works perfectly, right? Boom. So yeah, and you can see that's showing up inside the total expenses here. So like the output from Bolt, number one, you can't add expenses, and number two, it's all based on like fake dummy data. Whereas for example with Firebase, we built exactly the same thing with exactly the same prompt. It's actually worked. We can add transactions, it's fully functional, and this is a free tool, this is a paid tool, right? Bolt.new, you have to pay for it after a certain amount of tokens. So big difference right there. Even like, for example, like the name of the business owner, it's just totally hallucinated, right? So let's try, for example, Lovable. We'll open this up and we'll compare them side by side. Now, this is what it's built out, but the problem here is we can't actually edit any of the data, right? So it's just created like a sort of random dashboard, but we can't interact with it, right? So let me show you what I mean. If you go inside here, this is the example. But this is all based on fake data. We don't want that. We want to start from like scratch. If someone starts using your app for financial dashboards, they don't want all the data from John Doe inside there, right? Now, if we go to finances here, it's got an example, but there's no information, right? It says the complete financial management module will be implemented in future updates. So you can't actually add like financial transactions. Whereas, for example, with this one, if we click on add transaction, we'll put revenue, we'll put $1,000 for backlinks, put backlinks in the description, hit that in the transaction, boom, it's added. It's working perfectly, right? There's no fake dummy data in there. It's not wasting our time with hallucinated stuff. Like Firebase, it actually works now. It's actually probably better than Lovable. So it's crazy to see this. Like, you know, Lovable is a paid tool. You're paying a subscription for that. Firebase is a free tool, and it actually works better, creates more functionality, doesn't hallucinate as much. It's still going to hallucinate sometimes, so just be aware of that. But yeah, you can see a huge difference in both right now. So who wins? I'm going to say the Firebase so far from my test is winning. You can create awesome stuff like you can see right here, and you get better outputs than Bolt.new and Lovable without dummy data and without anything hallucinating. Crazy stuff. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get all my best prompts for Firebase, for SOP, for using this, etc., you can go to the AI Profit Boardroom. We have tons of training on using Firebase, plus building apps with data button, as well as Tray AI, right? And all my best courses, tips, templates, AI agents, workflows, etc. are inside the AI Profit Boardroom. You know, this is a community focused on making more money, saving time with AI, etc. Inside the community, you can ask any questions you have. And additionally, inside the classroom, you get all of these different courses and workflows. So for example, the NA10 section, look at all these different templates and workflows that we have right here. You can just download those and then import them directly into NA10. Additionally, it comes with weekly Q&A calls. There's actually one happening today. So if you join today, then you will be able to jump on the weekly Q&A calls. And yeah, it's just an awesome community focused on growing with AI and automating. Additionally, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how to get more leads, traffic, and sales with SEO, feel free to get that link inside the comments description. And we'll basically show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visitors this month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot. Now, on this call, you're going to get a free custom-tailored SEO domination plan. Plus, we'll be able to ask and answer any questions that you have, right? So if you're struggling with anything related to SEO or ranking within ChatGPT or Perplexity, etc., you can ask us live on the call, and we're happy to help right there. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it. RFX says, I'm trying to finish the MVP on an app, but too many new AI tools. Yeah, that's it. I mean, just focus on one, but you can see, like, if you were to choose a GOAT today, like if you were to choose, okay, I'm building the app from scratch today, what's the best? Well, for me personally, I would say that Firebase is proven to be the best from what we've seen. It's free, it actually works, and it's easy to set up. I've shown you multiple different tests today. So thanks so much for watching.